partners to construct offshore oil logistics facility. Small businesses battle high costs, low patronage, and factors buzz. The Central Bank of Nigeria is expected to have destroyed over 6 trillion naira worth of mutilated and old banknotes when the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari expires in May 2023. Already, data obtained from the annual report of the Currency Operations Department of the CBN between 2016 and 2020 indicates that the Apex Bank destroyed mutilated banknotes worth 4.1 trillion naira during the 5-year period. Correspondents could not readily obtain data on the amount of mutilated banknotes disposed of by the central bank in 2021 and 2022. However, the central bank is expected to destroy over 80% of the 3.23 trillion naira banknotes currently in circulation as a result of its decision to redesign 100 naira, 200 naira, 500 naira, and 1,000 naira bills. The move will bring the total amount of naira notes destroyed by the current administration to at least 6 trillion naira. The CBN Governor, Godwin Emefiele, announced on Wednesday that the bank would release redesigned naira notes by December 15, 2022. Emefiele made this announcement during a special press briefing in Abuja, where he gave reasons for the move. According to the CBN Governor, the move is aimed at controlling currency in circulation, as well as curbing counterfeit currency and ransom payments to kidnappers and terrorists. Meanwhile, a breakdown of the CBN data for the 2016-2020 period shows that in 2016, the Apex Bank destroyed the sum of 829.94 billion naira in mutilated notes. In 2017, the sum of 977.23 billion naira in mutilated banknotes was again destroyed by the CBN. The years 2018, 2019, and 2020 saw the destruction of over 814.59 billion naira, 814.44 billion naira, and 698.59 billion naira banknotes, respectively. And still on the business report today, the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited, Akwa Ibom State Government, and Solutions Hub Limited have sealed a deal to establish a fully integrated deep water logistics shore base in the Niger Delta State. In a series of tweets, the NNPC said Governor Udom Emmanuel, the leadership of the National Oil Firm and Solution Hub Limited, signed the deal to execute the shareholders agreement of Ibom Solution Hub. It said the logistics base, proposed to be sited on a 40 square kilometer space in Ibaka Mbo local government area within the already designated free trade zone in Akwa Ibom, was modeled to be an alternative to existing logistics bases in Nigeria to offer offshore construction support to West and Central African regions. The board chairman, NNPC, Senator Magari Chuba Okadibo, said the company was working with all relevant government agencies to deliver on the class facility. She invited more partners to collaborate with NNPC in order to secure their rights to play in Africa's largest market by partnering with its largest energy company. Meanwhile, small businesses are struggling to stay afloat as operating costs continue to surge amid shrinking consumer spending. Africa's most populous country has been grappling with double-digit annual inflation since 2016, with the consumer price index hitting 20.7% in September, a 17-year high, according to the National Bureau of Statistics. Globally, countries are faced with rising energy and food costs, largely driven by the Russia-Ukraine war. But in addition, worsening insecurity in Nigeria and climate change have compounded the problem for businesses. Diesel prices have soared by over 100% from this year, raising costs for firms in Nigeria, where businesses rely on diesel-fired generators amid unstable grid electricity. Transportation costs have also doubled, putting additional pressure on businesses. Analysis of the financial statements of some fast-moving consumer goods firms show that the amount spent in transportation rose to 43.19 billion naira in the first half of 2022 and 33.7 billion naira in the same period last year. The major factors driving the increase in production costs include forex shortage, rising energy costs, global supply cuts causing raw materials scarcity. Forex availability and accessibility have remained challenging for manufacturers. The naira has continued to depreciate against the dollar in the official and parallel markets in recent months, dropping to as high as 440 naira to a dollar and 750 naira to a dollar respectively. While the federal government, states and local government councils received 760.235 billion naira in September 2022 from the Federation Account Allocation Committee, FAC. This was contained in a communique issued at the end of the Federation Account Allocation Committee meeting for October 2022. According to the communique, from the total distributable revenue of 760.235 billion naira, the federal government received 294.244 billion naira. The states received 233.233 billion naira, and the local governments received 172.776 billion naira. 59.992 billion naira was shared to the relevant states as 13% derivation revenue. Now, the 760.235 billion total distributable revenue comprised of the distributable statutory revenue of 502.135 billion naira, distributable value added tax revenue of 189.928 billion naira, electronic money transfer levy revenue of 8.172 billion naira, and augmentation of 60 billion naira. In the meantime, many state governors in Nigeria yet to wake up to the fiscal crisis facing their states, as they have continued to incur increasingly unsustainable expenses amid low internally generated revenues. At least 50% of the total revenue of 33 states was federal transfers, with 13 states relying on federal transfers for at least 70% of their total revenues in 2021. And this is according to the recent released Budget 2020 State of States report. For example, Akwa Ibom State had a total revenue of 190.8 billion naira last year, of which 159.43 billion naira was federation allocation, and also recalling that 31.39 billion naira was what was internally generated. The total revenue for Benue State, however, stood at 74.59 billion naira, with 61.99 billion naira being federation allocation. The internally generated revenue of Yobe State stood at 8.46 billion naira, while the federation allocation was 57.93 billion naira. Taraba State also generated 9.76 billion naira internally and received from the federation allocation 57.43 billion naira. The study indicates that the cumulative revenues of the states grew by 9.19% from the 4.69 trillion naira earned in 2020 to 5.12 trillion naira in 2021. Although over 30 states of the Federation cannot carry out infrastructural projects due to poor revenue generation, it also indicates that Taraba, Kebbi, Gombe, and Benue had the least IGR in 2021, while the states with the highest IGR include Lagos, Rivers, Ogun, Kaduna. It also indicated that one of the most important areas to understand is the high state of governance at the governorship level, meaning that the cost of governance is too high for the states to manage, meaning the cumulative expenditure of the 36 states increased by 27% from 5.23 trillion naira in 2020 to 6.64 trillion naira in 2021, as personnel costs grew by 5.38% from 1.46 trillion naira to 1.54 trillion naira in 2021. And just before we wrap up the business report at 3 today, let's take a look at the focal points. You ahead that the CBN destroyed over 6 trillion naira banknotes under President Muhammadu Buhari. NNPC has partnered to construct offshore oil logistics facility. Small businesses battle high costs, low patronage, and factors disburses 760 billion naira to all government tiers in September 2022. And that is a wrap on the Business Report at 3 on Voice of the People 90.3. My name is Esther Wachakudu. Follow our social media handles across all platforms at VOP 903 FM. Good afternoon and have a fantastic day.